Hi, I'm Rebecca Coleman, food blogger and cookbook author, and we are here on location today inside this beautiful mint tiny home. It might be small in size, but let me tell you, everything that you need to live and to entertain is inside this space. Today we're going to be doing a cooking video, and I'm going to be showing you a really simple and yet super delicious recipe for entertaining inside your tiny home. Today we're going to be making mac and cheese. Okay, I know, you're saying, oh, mac and cheese, that's for kids, it's boring. It is not. First of all, it's not boring. And second of all, it's not just for kids, because this is a very grown-up and fancy version of mac and cheese that we are going to make today. Today we're actually going to be making our mac and cheese in an Instant Pot. And believe it or not, it's going to allow you to make your mac and cheese in as much time as it would take you to make one of those boxes of mac and cheese. So you're going to have beautiful homemade mac and cheese. If you're living in a tiny home, do you really want to have this kind of like a big bulky appliance inside your tiny home? And the answer is absolutely yes. And the reason why is because something like the Instant Pot does a multitude of different tasks. And when you're living in a tiny home, what you really want is you want to have lots of things in there that do double duty. So you buy something, but that one thing does a whole bunch of different things. It has multiple utilities. So with the Instant Pot, for example, you can bake in it, you can cook in it, it's great for doing slow cooking. It also does pressure cooking. If you buy certain models, you can make yogurt in there. These things are really amazing. The other thing I love about this recipe is that it is so simple to use. Really, there are just a few ingredients. We are using pasta. Obviously, it's mac and cheese, so it's macaroni. If you wanted to swap out the macaroni, in this particular case for a gluten-free macaroni, it works just as well. Okay, we're gonna start by adding into our Instant Pot 2 cups of water. And I'm gonna add to that as well a nice seasoning of salt. So I'm gonna go about, if you were measuring this, I would do somewhere around maybe a half a teaspoon, maybe even to an entire teaspoon. Pasta needs lots of salt in order for it to taste good. To be fair, we are adding some salty cheeses at the end, so you don't want to oversalt it too much. You can always adjust at the end. So what we have here is about a half of a pound of macaroni, just straight up old plain dried macaroni. It's about 400 milliliters. I'm just gonna add that right into the pot, and I'm just gonna give that a little bit of a stir. So I would never cook this much water conventionally, but in the Instant Pot, it works great. Let's go to the pot. And then you can just put the lid on, and then I'm just gonna put it on manual for 4 minutes. All right, let's talk cheese. What really makes this a grown-up mac and cheese are the kinds of cheeses that you choose to go inside your mac and cheese. So we have some usual suspects here and some not so usual suspects. First of all, we've got cheddar. And of course, we're making a mac and cheese. Cheddar needs to be a part of it. In this instance, I'm also using Gruyere. And Gruyere is kind of a harder cheese, but it melts really nicely. And it's gonna be one of those ones that gives you that nice, stringy kind of texture that you want in your mac and cheese. You could also use something a little bit softer like a mozzarella, because mozzarella, again, has that nice, beautiful, stringy tendency that makes it good. And finally, we're gonna use a really hard cheese, hard, well-aged cheese. This is a Grana Padano, so a Parmesan would be fine, a Pecorino would be fine. One of those harder, well-aged cheeses that are nice and solid and thick and easy to grate. These guys are great. They also, just to be fair, add a bit of salt as well to your dish. So you gotta be a bit careful when you're adding these in and make sure you don't add too much, because it can make things really salty really quick. We want our mac and cheese to be very cheesy. So I'm gonna do about 1.5 cups all together of all these different kinds of cheeses. I'm gonna focus primarily on the cheddar because that's what I want my flavor to be, but I'm gonna do also some of the other 2 kinds of cheese as well. Oh, look at how beautiful that is. Oh, that's beautiful. That's really nice. And then I'm just going to turn my box grater around and do the Padano on the small side of the grater. Okay, good.
All right.
I think we're good. When your Instant Pot is done, it's really, really important that you let the pressure of the pot come down before you take off the lid. Once it's not hissing at you anymore, then you can just take the pot lid right off and put that aside. And what you'll see is our macaroni is all beautifully and lovely and perfectly cooked inside there. Oh, let me show you. Let me show you. So look at that. So there's our macaroni, and it's almost like the starches come off of the pasta and mixes with the water, and it creates its own kind of thick sauce. Now what we want to do is we want to finish this. This is mac and cheese, so we got to make it creamy and we got to make it delicious. So we're going to add to this some butter. I'm also going to add to this some milk because we want to make it nice and creamy. I'm going to do about a half a cup of milk. I'm gonna stir that stuff together, and as the pot continues to heat up, all of that is gonna melt in together. The last couple of things that I want to add to this, and this is really where it's up to you to decide what you want your mac and cheese to taste like. This is where you can add, you know, some different herbs and seasonings. Like I brought some garlic, I brought some onion. I am actually going to add in a little bit of smoked paprika, which to be honest, I'm sort of obsessed with right now. And this is just going to add a little bit of like a smoky, kind of a warm flavor into our mac and cheese. So good. And the butter continues to melt and the milk continues to go in there. Now we're going to start to add in our cheese. You want about 1.5 cups of cheese. I think maybe we may have a little more than that, but I won't tell if you don't. So as you can see, we're now in a different mint tiny home. This one is a slightly larger floor plan with a little bit more space. And one of the things that I love about this particular tiny home is that it has this little sort of bar slash breakfast nook kind of thing going on here. And this makes this tiny home perfect for entertaining. So what we're gonna do with our mac and cheese is we're gonna set up a mac and cheese bar. That's right. A mac and cheese bar. So it's really simple. Your guests can come in, they grab a plate, they can load themselves up with some of this yummy mac and cheese, and then they can top their mac and cheese with a bunch of different toppings that I've laid out. So for example, I have some beautiful panko breadcrumbs that I've toasted. I have some caramelized onions, which by the way, I made in the Instant Pot. Some leftover cheese to go on top, some beautiful little cherry tomatoes. And then I also have sort of some specialty little beautiful salts. If you're very fancy like me, I like some truffle oil on top of my mac and cheese. For more small home entertaining tips and tricks, come to the Westcoast Small Homes Expo, June 1st and 2nd, 2019 at the TradeX in Abbotsford. You'll be able to tour small homes, tiny homes just like this, and there's going to be lots and lots of great information all weekend long. For more information, visit smallhomeexpo.ca. Let's have some wine. Let's eat, guys. Here we go. Cheers! Cheers! All right, let's get into mac and cheese. It's time, it's time. Cheers, guys. Oh my goodness.